Cognitive distortions. They are patterns of thinking that are heavily influenced by emotions, especially negative emotions. They tend to be extreme and emphasize negative experiences at the expense of more positive experiences. So, types of cognitive distortions. Black or white thinking. That's when you use always or never. Something is all good or absolutely horrible, right? There's no gray area. Catastrophizing. That is where you react to a situation as if it is the end of the world. Jumping to conclusions. Assuming the worst of everything without checking for the evidence. We'll come to that. That's going to be important probably in the next video. Ignoring the positive. That is where you avoid positive experiences or you minimize or deny them because somehow they don't count. Taking on the blame. Everything is your fault, even if it isn't. Even if you are thinking about and referring to things that are outside of your control. Shoulds. I call those shoulda, woulda, couldas. That is where you criticize yourself or other people about what should have happened, what could have happened, without taking into consideration or ignoring what may have also been in play, that whatever happened. Magnifying or minimizing. So magnifying your shortcomings. You are the most horrible person who personed in the history of personing. And minimizing your strengths. You do nothing right. Labeling. So instead of being very specific and describing someone's behaviors, making blanket statements like for yourself or others. Things like, I'm stupid, I'm an idiot, he's a jerk, stuff like that. Perfectionism. That is where if you make any mistakes, it is considered bad. It is the end of the world. Next we have, and when it comes to perfectionism, it tends to also come with avoiding anything where you may make a mistake. With that comes avoiding taking anything that has a risk attached to it, right? Not being extremely risk averse. Then the last cognitive distortion, reasoning from your emotions. So because you feel a certain way, that means that everything else is true about the situation, and so you act as if it is true, right? For example, you are feeling poorly or negatively about yourself. You start to think that I am not worthy for whatever thing, and so everything else comes from that reasoning. And so because you are not worthy, you will then not take the risk, etc., etc. You need to have some of these examples of cognitive distortions, because what the skill is, the coping skill, is how to challenge these cognitive distortions. And when it comes to cognitive distortions, the goal isn't to come to a conclusion that everything that you are doing is wrong. The idea is to challenge what you are thinking, to try to come to a more realistic assessment of what is going on and how likely whatever you're thinking is. And so there are some questions that you should ask yourself when you're challenging what you're thinking. Keeping in mind that when it comes to cognitive distortions, we are talking about the focus. Notice I'm not the thing. When you notice and focus on the negative, and with that, sort of tune out anything that may be positive about the situation, or at minimum neutral. All right. So questions to ask yourself when you are thinking negatively, especially if you are predicting yourself into a box, if you're predicting that something will happen. What percentage likelihood is it that what you think will happen will happen? Are we talking 100% sure? Are you 50% sure? 10% sure? What evidence do you have that this thing is likely to happen in the future? As evidenced by what, my dear? Is there any evidence that this is not likely to happen? What's the evidence against what you are predicting? How many times in the past have you predicted that something would happen? And how many times has it actually happened? How accurate are you exactly? Now, if the thing that you're thinking will happen, it actually happens, you were right, how bad would it be? Do you have any idea how you might cope with the situation? And what would you do? The thing that you're predicting, you're right, it happened, it actually happened. You were not being whatever. Now it's here. What would you do? Is there a plan? All right. These are the ways that you can sort of like challenge your thoughts, and especially when you're having negative thoughts. All right.